It's just like email is out, phone calling is out, and if you don't know how to chat or text, you have a lot of trouble communicating with people.
Building on what you just said, as a sales trainer and everything, how do you tell people to work around that now?
Well, first of all, I always say that when you speak to a client or potential client, you ask them for their permission to text them. And usually they say yes. I haven't had very many people say no.
Do you find that you get better response rates by doing the texting?
Absolutely. And this is really interesting because I did a sales training program for a large company that's a manufacturer that sells through dealers, and it was their dealer meeting. And this came up in the program, and some people said they absolutely would not text, even with or ask about texting, because they just feel that you are intruding on other people's time. But the more, shall we say, enlightened people and people that were of the younger generation, they all said, yeah, text. It's like people don't want to correspond through emails anymore unless you have to send an attachment. But yes, that's how you work around it. You ask permission, just like if someone says, well, I'm not really interested right now. Then you say, well, okay, perhaps in the future, and with your permission, I'll call you from time to time. I promise I won't pester you.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side of the coin, if you have an interested client, you just say, would you be so kind to give me your cell phone, and do you mind if I send you a text as long as I never bombard you with texts? And they laugh and they say yes.
Now, is that all people, or when you're working with people below a certain age, or everyone's receptive to it, or the majority of people?
Well, I can't say the majority of people at this time, but I would say about 65% at this time, based on my experience. Those are not exact statistics,
yeah,
but at least 65%. And this is what is occurring right now, and you're completely and totally out of it if you don't use text and instant message and things like that when you communicate with people. In fact, I was talking to the president of the company, and it was a construction company actually, and they said that their biggest problem is communication. They're busy, people are so busy, and the executives want to know how to communicate with their people. So I said, well, send a monthly letter from the president. Oh, they'd never read it, he said. And I said, well, have you considered a short letter? Thank you for your excellent work this past month. Next month, I need to ask more of you. Here's what we need to do. And if I can be of service, all those good types of things that so many CEOs and presidents do. But you send it on a text blast and everyone will get it. And the president said, that's a good idea. And they didn't have that type of technology yet. But it's not that expensive, and it is the wave of the future. You can reach every single person in your company through a text blast.
That's a great idea. And I know that if you look at what people are receiving via email, they get all the junk mail and everything. There really isn't inundated the way that the email is. So as soon as it dings, people are grabbing their phones. I think that's a great way to make sure that they see the message.
And here's something interesting. If you dial from your office phone, it takes a few seconds. If you dial from your cell phone, it usually doesn't go through quite as fast as a hard line. But if you text, it goes through immediately. So you're saving time, plus the person on the other end of the phone knows that it's only going to take a few seconds to answer, so they're much more apt to answer your call, your text rather, and communicate with you. And it saves so much time.